Hello and welcome back to Real Estate Radar. My name is Amita Vadva. This is the premier series serving you as your exclusive guide to navigate the dynamic real estate sector of India. In today's episode, we shine a spotlight on India's bustling commercial real estate, also known as CRE, which is an arena undergoing rapid expansion fueled by urbanization and economic progress. Commercial real estate stands as a vital component of the nation's infrastructure, with major metropolises like Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad and Kolkata, which are emerging as prime destinations for commercial investments. Right from cutting-edge office spaces to vibrant retail developments, the landscape which is ripe with opportunities. And amidst this vibrant sector, nationalized builders like DLF, Adani Realty and Godrej Properties are making waves, bringing forth a new era of trust, transparency and also professionalism. Let's take a look at India's latest commercial real estate market trends for the year 2023 as per an analysis by the Go To The Address. India is the home to the third largest startup ecosystem globally, which is the driving force behind the rise of commercial real estate. India's CRE market currently stands at $33.62 billion, poised to reach $87.57 billion by 2028. Now, the amount of office space leased in India went up by 12% in the second quarter of 2023. Now, the shop-cum-office model is also gaining traction, especially in the Tier 2 cities like Noida and in Gurugram, with multi-story buildings offering a blend of retail and office spaces to meet diverse business needs. The global market value of smart building system is also expected to exceed $500 billion by 2032, reflecting a growing emphasis on sustainability and efficiency in commercial real estate. To further explore these findings, I am currently joined by esteemed panelists, welcoming Mr. Rajiv Talwar, former CEO, DLF, Bhairav Dalal, Chartered Accountant and Partner, PwC. Welcome and thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us today. First up, Mr. Rajiv Talwar, my first question is for you. Can you actually provide your insights on what are the broader implications of the aforementioned trends in the major metro cities, sir?
First of all, I would like to compliment you on your trends and give you the big figure. You're actually going to see $1 trillion investment into the real estate sector. It will, of course, include commercial buildings, real estate, retail, entertainment, and also the infrastructure over there, which will probably go into multiples of trillions. Indian economy is on a roll, and we should be seeing some very good trends. For instance, most of the companies who are working are now planning to double their commercial real estate offering from what it was in 2020 to 2030. So therefore, you can very well imagine that it is millions of square feet in commercial real estate which will come in, and that will obviously mean billions of dollars being invested into new buildings, into new technology, into new designs and new infrastructure within those commercial real estates. So, examples are abounding in this. You have Gurugram, which is coming up very well. You have Mumbai, where BKC, and there's a seamless progression to Lower Parel, Senapati Bapat Marg. You have Navi Mumbai, which is being developed on a scale which is unimaginable. The only thing which is reflective of that is the Atal Setu,
right?
The Maharashtra Trans-Harbour Link. You have Bengaluru, which is coming up. There's almost a new city being made over there. Chennai, with the TIDCO coming in, the amount of expansion which is taking place over there is phenomenal. The high-tech and the fintech cities in Hyderabad, the gift city in Gandhinagar, the Aero City in Delhi itself. So you have leading examples, and I'm sure states like UP, which have promised a $1 trillion economy at the quickest, will be matched by states like Odisha, by states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra. So you have a multiple flowering of real estate, logistics, infrastructure, and therefore provision of energy as well as provision of the basic requirements for environment, which is water, dwellings, forests, green spaces, and hence the total overall development of India will be truly in keeping with the dreams of the government, the plans of the government, which intend to make it into a $35 to $40 trillion economy, whether it's using green hydrogen, whether it's using renewable power. We are on an upswing, the kind of which the world will look forward to seeing. Like maybe in the last century it was some other country. In this century, it is definitely India.
Right. Mr. Dalal, could you now shed some light when it comes to the role of innovative designs as played in the recent successful commercial real estate projects?
I think if you were to look at design as a concept, maybe I would say pre-COVID design was very different, and post-COVID the design concept is very different. And of course, 10 years back, the designs were very, very different. So if you see the trend, the way it has evolved, I would say flexibility to use the space and the mixed use nature of development are the two things that have stood out. All the good commercial real estate assets which have created value have these two factors in it. Let me give you an example. 10 years back, maybe a commercial real estate with only offices would have done very well. In today's time, for it to do well, it needs to have some bit of retail, some bit of entertainment, some bit of food and beverage and hospitality. Then only it will actually do well as a commercial real estate asset, which basically means the end user is asking for more mixed use development than just the office space.
Right, Rajesh, so very interesting insights. But can you also tell us some examples of how specific economic factors such as interest rates or even inflation have influenced the trends in commercial real estate markets, sir?
What can be a better example of managing the economy than the post-pandemic economy in India? You have stability in the economy, you have inflation under control, you have interest rates which are controlling inflation very effectively and therefore point towards a factor where the cost of money in India will come down in the near to medium future. And what will this mean for Indians? It will actually mean a much leaping GDP growth and therefore a much better quality of life. And we really believe that yes, India will be the place where all these factors will merge and then provide a much higher quality of living, a much better pace remuneration scale to people, and hence a much better country to live in.
Mr. Dalal, you heard Rajesh sir giving very specific examples, sir, but in your end, actually, if you can highlight specific examples when it comes to successful commercial real estate projects, sir, that have been witnessed in the recent years that have actually transformed their respective cities through innovative design and also generated substantial economic benefits.
So I think there are two or three that come to my mind immediately. Let me start with Hyderabad. On a recent trip, I passed through the high-tech city and I actually visited Hyderabad after many years, and that city has transformed because of the high-tech city and the way the commercial real estate has come up over there. And you look at the designs, the way some of those buildings look, it's a very good feeling to be passing through that. And I'm sure the economic activity has substantially increased because of that development. The other one, which of course comes to my mind and it's pretty much out there for everyone to see, is the way Gurgaon has come up over the last 10, 12 years, especially with the infrastructure development and the way the commercial real estate has picked up. Even today, we see more and more companies wanting to undertake commercial real estate over there, which only means that there is so much demand, and more demand will only lead to more and more economic activity. I would say there are other offshoots in cities like Pune, Bangalore and Mumbai, but I would say Hyderabad and Gurgaon are two very, very leading examples of how commercial real estate can add to substantial economic activity.
Mr. Talwar, when it comes to the recent government policies, sir, that has affected the commercial real estate market, what do you believe that could be the projected implications for investors and also developers, sir?
Okay. Investors, of course, with heightened economic activity, you'll find, take any major metro or super metro, whether it is Mumbai, whether it is Delhi, whether it is Bengaluru, Chennai, Hyderabad, Gandhinagar, I mean, name it, and Noida for that matter, UP now. Look at the kind of investment which is coming in. So what is the thing for investors? Look out for good deals. You have a huge number of air links coming up. You have easy logistics coming in, whether it is air to sea or sea to air or land logistics. So that is for the investors to look forward to. But for these developers, yes, I think for the developers, one critical thing will be technology infusion, innovation in design, having new materials which are coming, which make it much easier to work with and provide much greater amount of sunlight in their own offices. But the basic thing is execution. I think there is a large scope in India for new engineering companies to come up and provide a much quicker turnaround for construction, especially in commercial buildings, which are basically slab pillar, casing of glass, and control of the environment inside as well as outside. And therefore, the speed at which we can progress would be much greater. I'm sure we can give you many examples within the country of that already happening.
Mr. Dalal sir, especially when we talk about sustainable and eco-friendly features that are now being integrated into commercial real estate projects, what, according to you, are the specific green initiatives that developers are now prioritizing?
So on the green initiative parts, I think my experience after having discussions with multiple developers is that they're actually breaking it down into each part of the construction activity. Developing a commercial real estate, or for that matter any real estate, is a fairly complicated exercise which can be broken down into materials, operations, how the materials are being transported to the site, what sort of power are you using at site. So if I look at some of the examples, a few developers are actually tied up with the electricity board to consume only renewable power for their projects. To me, that's a very, very important move and a big move from the developer side to start becoming green. Renewable power is obviously the best source of power that we can have right now. A lot of them are also focusing on the materials, whether these materials are eco-friendly, whether these materials are being brought to the site in an eco-friendly way. The third most important one is the disposal. Disposal of some of the construction materials can be very, very environmentally unfriendly, and therefore how the disposal happens, whether it is in a proper manner, whether it generates pollution, etc., is being very, very closely looked at. So if I were to look at some of the initiatives, I think these are the three that the developers have taken on the green side. I think on the development side, the more they integrate the renewable power as a part of the design itself, I think that will add a lot of sustainability to the commercial real estate assets. We've seen projects which are now integrating, and we've seen this in a big way in the airport space, where most of the airports are now having a full-fledged solar power plant within their premises to actually consume. More and more we talk to commercial real estate developers, they are actually wanting to rely or take over renewable power plant so that they can bring renewable power to their project. So I would say renewable power is really the way commercial real estate developers are looking at for the green initiative.
But on to more on that, Mr. Talwar, because are there any economic incentives that are actually driving the increased emphasis on sustainability in commercial real estate? And if so, how do these initiatives actually impact the overall property value?
Okay, I think the biggest step which has been taken in the last 2 years by the Finance Ministry and the Ministry of Commerce has been redesigning of the SEZ Act. They now allow a much greater movement of between floors, much greater infusion of GST, much greater infusion of IT into the buildings, and hence it makes it much easier for companies to do work simultaneously in all the commercial real estate which is now being developed in India, that you can now divide offices very easily, meet your export requirements, meet your processing requirements for within the country. And I think that would be the biggest change which has come in, besides the fact that GST is a game changer. You can now go on the computers itself. It's largely faceless, and therefore all GST billings all GST input tax credits, all are available. In fact, your accounting is so much on real time that it makes it very easy for decision making and for planning future investments.
Right. Mr. Dalal, taking forward as far as the preferences, sir, of businesses for office spaces, do you believe that they are changing in response to the recent change in work patterns and also technological advancements, sir?
Again, so it's really the pre-COVID and post-COVID discussion. And of course, I don't think we've still reached a final verdict on work from home. We've seen a lot of companies emphasizing on return to office, whereas a lot of companies are still promoting work from home. Once we move forward on this, we'll probably realize that it's going to be a hybrid culture. We will see work from office and work from home both coexisting, which basically means that the commercial real estate where people will go to office will need to have far more flexibility when it comes to occupying space. Also, the technology with which people communicate and the digital facilities and the internet facilities will have to be far more stronger, because now the bandwidth will be consumed far more than what it was earlier. Earlier, most of them used to be in office and there used to be very few video or Zoom calls. But as we talk, I think there are more and more video calls being done every day, and the quality of these needs to improve. The quality of collaboration needs to improve over these calls. Some of these calls will have artificial intelligence integrated into them so that minutes can be generated very quickly. And all of this will have to be done in a design form by the commercial real estate guys, because unless their building supports something like this, the end user is not going to occupy, which is why we are seeing a shift from some of the traditional commercial real estate assets where it is difficult to implement some of these things to the newer assets where there is far more flexibility. People are moving to more and more of the co-working space, because co-working actually offers you all of this in a very integrated and in a very nice manner. Also, I think the era is now of virtual reality. More and more virtual discussions are happening. People are conscious of traveling to different cities or different countries, and because of the carbon restrictions or whatever you say, people are trying to convert physical meetings into virtual meetings. And for that, you need dedicated space. You can't have a virtual call sitting on your desk, and therefore the need for highly digital technical meeting rooms will be the need of the hour. You will see more and more commercial real estate guys offering this, or at least creating the infrastructure to offer this as a solution to the end users. Because as I said, the end users will really want a digitally advanced office space to ensure that their digital demands are met.
Mr. Talwar, what role do you believe that technology integration plays in modern commercial projects, and how are these developers actually leveraging these new innovative solutions?
You know, it's a strange thing now that everyone is quoting about buildings which are LEED Platinum, which meet all the gold standards, which meet all the SDG goals. And where does technology come in? Number one, in design. You'll find much more use of modern materials, whether it is special types of glass, whether it is special types of steel which is being used, and whether it is, yes, the pace of concretization which is coming in, and hence what kind of buildings which are coming in, which are much more friendly to the user itself,
right,
to the people working in them. Besides that, you have new air conditioning modules, you have large amount of water recycling within the buildings, you have new materials being used for flooring, and you have new materials being used for security, for access, and also control over the environment of the building itself. So these are very major things, changes which are taking place, and you see a large number of areas. You can talk about Noida, you can talk about Gurugram, you can talk about the buildings in Bengaluru, in Mumbai, very major changes coming in, and Chennai, Hyderabad. These are areas where new sorts of buildings and new forms of buildings are being seen. And that would be a great attraction for global investors and global offices coming in. I think that's a major change which we are going to see in India in the next 25 years.
Mr. Dalal, considering the dynamic nature of commercial real estate sector, sir, that seems to be constantly evolving according to the demands of businesses, what advice would you offer to investors and to developers looking to capitalize on emerging trends?
So let's talk of investors first. If you are an investor looking to invest in a smaller commercial real estate asset, I think your primary focus should be the nature of the tenant and the business of the tenant. Is the business of the tenant going to be sustainable in the future itself, or is the tenant in a business which is likely to be under stress if there is a financial downturn? So as an investor in a smaller property, probably that's what you're focused on. But to most of the large investors, I think they know for themselves what they need to focus on. It's really the end use. As I said, whether it is flexibility of end use, whether there is mixed use development, is there an integrated entertainment and retail play? If not, I think the investors will want to stay away from it. Most of the new developments that we are looking at are actually having a proper use or a proper mix of the mixed use development. Most of them are actually trying to integrate with the infrastructure in and around the metro as well. So anything which is mixed use, good connectivity with infrastructure, especially rail and road, would be a good choice for the investors and for the developers. For the retail end user, I would say look at the listed REITs. Probably the best and the safest way for the retail investor to invest in commercial real estate.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us here on the show. Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode for the Real Estate Radar. Thank you for giving us your time and information about these trends. It has been a great discussion. And remember to join us in the next time as we continue to explore the ever-evolving landscape of real estate in India.